Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grimflayer. Hope you're all doing very well today, and it is time to rock. You know what time it is. It's time to rock. It's time to play the rock, Golgari Midrange, and what can I say? No changes to the list. The list feels really good. It's been treating me really well, and the meta is still open enough and kind of in flux enough, and I think our initial take, when we've been on this list for a few leagues now with the rock, I think when we settled on this list, it was pretty much where we want to be. So, yeah, no changes. No changes until I feel the need or until I feel it to be necessary at some point, potentially in the near future. We do like to tweak and we do like to test, but for now, we are just going to jam with the same list that has been treating us so very well over the past few leagues. Now, I did play Sultai for the previous video on this channel, and it was a lot of fun, but it does feel good to be back on the rock. I've been branching out a lot lately, a lot more than I'm used to, with a couple Jund leagues and a Sultai league. Good times, but, it's good to be back on home territory, playing Golgari. As we start up our first match here, I wish to say sincerely thank you to all Patreon supporters, including our very newest one, Luke Isaac. Luke Isaac is a confidant, and that's a great thing. Thank you so much, Luke, and thanks to everybody else out there supporting this content. And our hand is a good one. It is painful, but it's a keep. Our opponent has mulliganed. And the hope here is that we're going to just kind of naturally curve out with our lands, partially because we do want to play the turn 3 Liliana, almost certainly. Partially so we don't have to take too much pain from our Nurturing Peatland. Opponent goes Darksteel Citadel, Mendite, Mox Opal, traditional affinity it is. And they've got an explosive start with Glinthawk. Ooh, okay, interesting. That's not one I'm used to seeing, but it's actually pretty cute. It's a 2/2 flyer for 1, which is a good rate, and it lets them kind of bounce that Mox Opal to reuse it if they could, which they don't seem to have been able to. So Thoughtseize is a pretty bad draw, because I suspect our discard is going to be pretty dead after this first one, but let's see. I wonder, actually, before I cast this, if we should be casting Thoughtseize in case they have that enchantment. The red enchantment, the name escapes me. I don't think we should. I think we have to respect our life total too much, but it's a thought. Experimental Frenzy is the one. Wow, well, Venerated Loxodon, I guess, would be another reason to have cast the Thoughtseize. That's obviously not usual affinity tech. What the heck's going on here? 4/4 Convoke. ETB puts counters on the things that convoked it. And Legion's Landing? Okay, so this is not affinity. Not the affinity we were used to seeing anyway, and that's extremely punishing that we didn't get to Thoughtseize that thing away. Again, I think, we had the radar for regular affinity, just playing a Glinthawk. I think that's a pretty fine thing to have done, but man, are we ever punished. So, we're going to be getting hit with some big stuff next turn. I guess that means we've got to play the Goyf, because the Goyf can at least stop these 2/2s from attacking. This thing's going to transform. It's going to let them keep going wide. Yeah, this is a brutal opener. And our draws have been bad. We've drawn a Thoughtseize, we've drawn a Dark Confidant. These are two very bad draws in the context of this game, so we're off to a bit of a rough start. I guess the first order of business is to find a kill spell for the Loxodon. Wow, they're turning that vampire sideways as well, huh? Just so they can transform Adanto, I guess, and gain a little life. Means it's not a bad attack at all, even though we get to eat that vamp. They're going to crack the Sunbaked Canyon. Find a Signal Pest. That's a good one, too. Oh my god, another Signal Pest. Okay, well, we got a third land, and it's another Pain land. Alright, so if we spend 2 life to cast Liliana, we edict them. I mean, we're pretty dead no matter what we do, right? Is our best bet to just play Dark Confidant here rather than the Liliana? Because Memnite is kind of a non-factor attacking anyway. I mean, maybe we shouldn't spend too much time thinking about this because we're just going to die. So, sure, I'm going to play Confidant instead of the Liliana. We're going to save a life this way. We can trade off with that Memnite if they are turning them sideways, and if not, maybe we can get extremely lucky off of the Bob. We're also bluffing Fatal Push this way. Alright, here they come. So I guess we have to trade with Memnite and chump Loxodon. Doesn't really matter how we do it, I guess. Alright. So we're obviously not getting there this game. Leonin Arbiter. Well, okay. I'm glad I know about that card. Something that would not have been on my radar whatsoever, and we're just dead. So, if we had Thoughtseize there, we take away the Loxodon. Honestly, don't know that we're really got much of a chance of getting there against that start anyway, given the draws of more Bobs, more Thoughtseizes, and the pain of our pain lands. So, what are you going to do? So I have just kind of heard the name of Loxobots by, I think, Jim Davis, either popularized it or created it or whatever. I've never played against it, though, so I'm just going to kind of sideboard against what I've seen, and I'm not sure if Fulminator Mage is where we want to be, even though I think it's pretty good against regular affinity. I also, let's see, Plague Man for sure, Last Hope for sure, Vraska, Collector Ouphe. I think all that stuff's still just as good as it here, almost as it would be against regular affinity. Do we want Collective Brutality? Yeah, it kills a lot, including Arbiter, that we just saw at the end there. Now, how far away can we afford to move from Thoughtseizes? How important is it to take away that Loxodon? Versus how important is it to take away or to just preserve our life total? I think Liliana, the Veil's probably still pretty bad here, but maybe leaving in 1 is fine. Alright, let's just assume we're bringing in all of these cards. We can consider moving away from trackers. We can consider maybe trimming a Bob. Or do we want to leave all Bobs in on the play? We could just cut these 5 cards and that would be pretty efficient feeling, but Unearth might not be the very best. I don't know how good Hexdrinker is here, too. Hexdrinker is pretty slow. But at least it's trading along the ground with stuff like a Memnite with a counter on it. Alright, I think I'm going to cut all 3 Thoughtseizes on the play, maybe bring back 1 on the draw. And I mean, they're heavily white. Let's cut Unearth. Maybe Unearth is just very cuttable in this matchup. That leaves us with 1 Tireless Tracker. Do we want to play a second Liliana of the Veil against this deck? I'm just not that familiar with it. I think I'm going to. I don't know if it's right or not, but I think I'm gonna. So let's play without the trackers. Seems pretty good to me. Gotta remember to try to do our fetching nice and early against a possible Arbiter. Otherwise, our play pattern should be not dissimilar to how we would sequence against regular affinity. I think this hand's a keep. It's not the greatest by any means, but I think it's a fine keep. Man, that was an explosive progression the opponent had, especially considering their multi-6. And all they had in hand was Loxodon in the land when our turn 1 Inquisition whiffed, and then they had a good turn 1 though, and then they ripped a ton of gas off the top. Opponent mauling here as well. Feels good. So we're going with a turn 2 Dark Confidant here. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Wow, look at this explosive start. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Alright. Didn't expect that one either, so I guess there's a strong Hate Bears theme in this. But we don't need to push her yet, so we're just going to stick with the plan, play the Bob, but push is a good draw. Ghost Quarter. Okay. No Leonin Arbiter, at least this turn, alongside the GQ activation. But good value from the Thraben Inspector. And here come the beats. We're going to lean on the Bob more heavily than that, so we're going to take the hit. And see what we can find off of the top. Bob gets us a Blooming Marsh. Okay, that's good. That's very good. We also draw Inquisition, and I don't know how good that is, but I think I'm going to cast it here. Obviously, this could whiff yet again. That would be a real feel-bad moment. This also that also means we're not doing anything else with our turn, huh? So Thalia a bit obnoxious here. Bit obnoxious to say the least. The other thing we could do is just Fatal Push Thalia, then cast our Inquisition. That might actually be our very best play. We do have another form of removal in case they've got more of a must-kill permanent. Either in hand that we can in not Inquisition, or off the top at some point. So sure, let's do that. Push your Thalia, Inquisition you. Another Thalia and a Gideon ally of Zendikar. Alright, well, opponent's deck is just filled to the brim with value. I guess we're hoping to fade a land here. Like, we just don't want them to play a Gideon right away. Yeah, they get a Signal Pest instead. Sure. Alright, so if we take this hit, we go to 15. Is that acceptable? Yes, it is. We're going to lean on the Bob. And we can also attack with the Bob. We can start cracking back this turn. Okay, Bob flips a Plague Engineer, Construct, and Pest. So we cannot quite wipe anything out. We can't wipe more than one thing out with this Plague Man. It's still a good draw. Still a good draw without any question about it, but I kind of think I maybe prefer to just play Goyf and Scooze this turn. If I could do anything else good with one remaining mana, I'd be pretty happy to take a kill here with the Plague Man, but let's attack with old Bobby. Yep, we're just going wide. We're just trusting in the Goyf to be able to hold the line this turn. And then we can stabilize our life total with Scooze. We can play the Plague Man next turn. We're putting ourselves in a really good position here. Obviously, this is all subject to the opponent's draws. Looks like they drew the Venerated Loxodon. That's obviously very good with such a wide board. And that just blows out our Plague Man. Pretty horrendous. Pretty horrendous. So, alright, let's just see what we draw with Bob first. Okay, Abrupt Decay, good. And the land off of Bob, also pretty good. Still no land in the graveyard to grow the Goyf, which is interesting. Alright, so Ornithopter is a Thopter. Their types are extremely diverse. Elephant, Cleric, Pest, Human Soldier, Thopter, Construct. And we can't kill any of them, so Plague Man's not looking as good anymore as he was a moment ago. Just giving this some good thought here. I kind of don't mind doing nothing here. Just like passing with Trophy and Decay up. I kind of don't mind that. Makes their attacks really awkward. Lets us put a couple counters on the Ooze if we don't need to use both spells this turn. And lets us get this Hissing Quagmire down. So I think I'm going to do that. Part of me wants to attack, but we're not gonna. That would force us to take some action here that we do not otherwise wish to take. So we'll just pass. Did opponent draw like a Dispatch or something here? What is one white that they're then hesitating? Another Thalia. Yeah, that's annoying. But we're also not pressed into action quite yet because we don't want a trophy this turn. So we can still just pay 3 for an Abrupt Decay and then still have a Scooze activation. Alrighty, so we put an artifact in the yard here. Goyf becomes a 4/5. We eat the Loxodon. Question is, do we want to kill Ornithopter or kill Signal Pest? We can kill Thalia next turn by naming Human if we want to do that too. Shrink the Inspector as well. It's a good question what we kill here. I guess I'm going to kill the Pest. So, of course, we take an extra point of damage from the Ornithopter this way because the trigger's on the stack, but we baited them into tossing away their Loxodon here, basically. Oh, the battle cry. Sure. Okay. No, I forgot about that. That's definitely fair. It's definitely fair. All right. I think I'm still actually going to trade Goyf. Goyf is good, but getting that big fat thing off the field is also good. More creatures in the graveyard, all that. So we did take a point of damage unnecessarily there. But We do have a good way to stabilize just on the back of this Ooze. And their recursive advantage of Bob. Nice pairing here. And just more lands and more lands, huh? Okay, so we should probably use our fetch land to get our other basic forest. Play the Plague Man naming humans, then pass. We might be able to start turning our something or other sideways here next turn. We could even attack with the Bob now, but like we have 5 points of life in the tank basically with these graveyards the way they are. So I think we just want to keep drawing cards with Dark Confidant at least for one more turn. So let's pass. It also makes their attacks worse here in case they find like removal for Ooze. We don't want to give them anything remotely like a free attack. Oh no, another Venerated Loxodon, really? Jeez, their top decks have been crazy. Alright. So, time to just gain a big stack of life. Make our Ooze large and see what our double draw yields. We'll leave that pest in there in case, leave it for last anyway. It does grow the Goyf at the moment if we find another one. Another Ooze, sure. Alright, we're attacking with our Ooze. Now, an interesting question is if they don't block, do we eat both creatures? Alright, they're gonna chump. Sure. Ooh. Maybe not. So if we eat both creatures, we put them to 6. They are then dead to a much broader variety of things than if we don't. But I still think we're going to play it a little bit more conservatively than that. I'm content to just connect for 6 here. And sit back behind all of these good blockers with an Assassin's Trophy up our sleeve. I don't know if it's possible for the opponent to draw a brick that's also not a land. Even Mox Opal, they float the current one, then they play the other one. I don't know if they have any bricks in their deck, because a land allows them to play Gideon, and a non-land is probably just castable. Opponent is attacking with the Thraben Inspector. I don't know what to make of that. I think I'm quite happy to assign the block and then eat the 2 creatures and take this hit for 2. I think that's fine with me. Could also consider firing up a creature land here, but they do have Ghost Quarter, so let's just not do that. We hold up our trophy this way. Alright, is there any incentive to eat the other Tarmogoyf right now, the other creature? I don't think so. I don't know what that attack signifies. Really don't. Was it just a bad attack? Either way, we're going to use our mana. And then, do we trophy the Loxodon and just go for the kill? I don't think we do, because they do have Ghost Quarter for our creature land. They do have good blocks with that Memnite. So I think we're just going to play super cautious here. We have all the advantages. We drew Maelstrom Pulse and Fatal Push. Well, that's one way to get there as well. So, Pulse your Loxodon. Push your Memnite, attack for lethal. Sure, cracking the Sunbaked Canyon. Unless you've got a 1-mana Settle the Wreckage. Alright, we got there. Alright, so that was cool. Dark Confidant was absolutely awesome there. Confidants and Scoozes, man. That was great. That was an interesting game. The opponent top decked well, and we still kind of beat them out. So we are now going to be on the draw. Is a Thoughtseize more appealing on the draw? I think it is, because we not only have seen the Loxodon, we've seen Gideon. Who knows what else they have. I think we can afford to play one Thoughtseize, take 2 damage once. Other than that, I still don't really want Fulminator. I think it'd be fine, but I think we need other things more. Don't really want the Unearth. Yeah, don't really want anything else. Like a Tracker's fine, but I suppose everything else is probably better. Now, how good is Collective? I think Collective Brutality, I guess, is still fine. There's just, they've had a lot of things that outsize it, but that won't always be the case, right? So we'll still play the Collective Brutality. Do we just cut a Liliana the Veil on the draw? Or do we cut, like, Hexdrinker? Just play with 1 Lily Veil, that seems fine. We've got Last Hope, we've got Vrosco, we've got 4 Plaguemen. And Lily of the Veil is still pretty bad against Affinity, and this is at least half of an Affinity deck, right? What an interesting round 1 we're having. Our hand is amazing. Painless mana, double Inquisition, push, Ouphe, Bob. Ouphe is not as unbelievably good here as it would be in Affinity. They haven't shown me actually all that many activated abilities of artifacts. Mainly just Mox Opal, but I still think we're supposed to bring it in, and I'm still happy to see it here as part of this hand. The opponents had a couple extremely explosive starts. Let's hope they don't have a third one. We will keep. Oh, how I wish we were on the play with this hand, but that is alright. We've got... Ooh, Toolcraft Exemplar.
Can you help me with something? Are you in the middle of something?
I'm recording. What's up? What do you need? And we're back. Sorry about that. Toolcraft Exemplar. If you control an artifact at the beginning of combat, it becomes a 3/2. If you control 3 or more artifacts, it also gains First Strike. A good beater, but not the most fearsome turn 1 I've seen out of this deck. And we have a pretty functional but not that high-powered hand. So I think we're... I think we're actually supposed to leave the Thalia. Maybe we just take the Thraben Inspector. Don't care that much about Thalia here. Then again, Thalia actually outsizes all of our stuff. But if we... Yeah, let's take the Thalia. Then if they play the Thraben Inspector next turn, we can go turn 2 Ouphe and shut off the clue. And they show us a land that we didn't know they had, so that's cool. The Exemplar beats are pretty real. You know, 3-2 for 1 is not bad at all. Alright. Yeah, I still kind of like just playing the Ouphe here. Shuts off the clue, shuts off the, you know, in theory can do some trading or do some blocking, but we'll see exactly what they have. We are just a little bit behind the 8-ball, even though their hand's not that explosive. I got another Inspector. Alright, we really kind of need to keep our Ouphe around then, don't we? So, I guess we're just taking the hit this turn. Oh no, their 2 draws have been Inspector and Loxodon. Geez, they just never fail to top deck the Loxodon, do they? That's insane. Alright, this just got so much worse for us, but... we can at least... do a little work here. Are we priced into simply trophying the Loxodon this turn because it's a 4-4? I think we are. The problem is we don't have any way to stabilize. We need a Tarmogoyf or a Scooze. Well, even Scooze with only 1 green mana is not great. These 2/3s are just able to kill us, but you know, playing Dark Confidant doesn't really change that, so I guess we're just spending our turn on push and trophy. Feels pretty bad. Legion's Landing. We'll push the pest. And we'll trophy the elephant. Yeah, we need like a big old Tarmogoyf off the top. That is what we need. The Ouphe is depressingly undersized against the progression they have. It can shut off these token attacks at least, or chump block if we need to, but I don't think we're quite there yet. Man, and we're just ripping lands and lands, huh? Okay, play the Dark Confidant, pass. So now they're in Shefet Dune's range as well, where they can pump this whole team, which would actually be very problematic for us. Yeah, I can't believe they just rip this Loxodon off the top every time. But instead they're going for the Sunbaked Canyon activation. Maybe a little greedy, but maybe not. Maybe that's fine. I don't know what's in their deck. And they have the backup plan of making another vampire with their mana this turn. They found another Legion's Landing. Yeah, okay. Plague Engineer is a pretty good draw at this point as well. So the Toolcraft Exemplar does not have First Strike. So this would be an opportunity to kind of get it off the field, but if we double block it, then that unlocks their clues. We take 6, we go to 3, we have an empty board. We kind of need to draw Plague Engineer either way. So if we draw Plague Engineer, I guess we should be double blocking the Toolcraft Exemplar here. Feels so horribly bad, though. Alright, Confidant. Okay, so opponent has left our Confidant alive. Bob hits us a land, that's pretty cool. But we are just dead anyway. Tarmogoyf coming down too late. And our best play, instead of using field, is to just play the Goyf and bluff. Play the Goyf and bluff. But if we had had a Plague Man here, we could have made the stand. I don't think there's any chance our bluff actually works, but at least it's making the opponent think. They're cracking a clue, sure. Yeah, you know, this particular game, if we had faded the rip of the Loxodon, I think we would have been in good shape. But 'twas not to be. They're leaving one back. Why? We block those two. We still take exactly lethal, but like if we if we have one removal spell, this attack leaves us alive. Anyway, we don't. We're dead. GG. GG, well played. Beaten by Loxobots. First time ever playing against that deck. Seems good. Seems explosive. Seems like it attacks on a more resilient angle than traditional Affinity does. Also seems less consistent or less consistently explosive, but if you're hitting the gas pedal, then it's the extra beef it provides the board is actually quite relevant. And here we are, round 2. winning the die roll, and yeah, hand's pretty good. We'll keep. Turn 2 Goyf, turn 3 Lily on the play. Utility out of the land base and Unearth to perhaps synergize with a future Liliana +1 to... Oh, this opponent recognizes us. Love your vids, man. Why, thank you. Very nice to hear, very nice to see. Ooh, is this some kind of a mirror? Maybe. Yeah, if they watch the channel and they like it, there could be a BGX player, so maybe we are against Jund. Who knows, but we're running out the Goyf either way. Obviously terrible against a lot of things, including Wrenn and 6. Unless they don't have unless they can play Wrenn without a fetch. If they can play Wrenn without a fetch. Okay, just a mountain. Chalice on 1. That's not Jund. That's not Jund at all. Alrighty, well. I don't know if we should be suspicious for Blood Moon. But I guess I'm going to fetch a swamp here in case. Blood Crypt doesn't exactly scream Blood Moon to me, but you never know. And is it better to pitch our Unearth here or to pitch a land? I think I'm going to pitch the field. I don't expect that to be relevant in a Chalice of the Void matchup. I could be wrong, but I don't know what I'm against with a Blood Crypt and Chalice. So, Unearth makes the Goyf bigger right now, though. Yeah, I'm going to pitch the Unearth, actually. And now our Goyf is resilient against Lightning Bolt. Okay, this could just be like Rakdos Prison. Desperate Ritual. Yeah, Chandra or something? Sure enough. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, taking care of the Goyf, but we can take care of her right back with a Treetop Village. Inquisition is going to get shut off by the Chalice, so let's pitch it. We're back again. Inquisition gone. Opponent has lost a Collective Brutality. Alright, so I like running out the swamp here because field might be good to fix our own mana later, get more green. But we also might not need that and might also want to pitch a land to a Liliana in the future. Dreadbore takes care of our Lily of the Veil. We got another one where that came from. Okay, Assassin's Trophy, so we can have everything this turn if we sequence accordingly. Alright, so if we play the field, we play the Lily, we tick the Lily up and hold priority. Get rid of the Chalice with Trophy. In case they... Well, if they have a Lightning Bolt in hand, that really doesn't matter. Like, our Trophy resolves before... Yeah, so... Doesn't matter. Let's just get the Chalice now. Makes life a little easier on us. And then we'll tick the Lily up. Ensnaring Bridge out of the hand. I don't hate that, that's for sure. So it's a top deck war, but we have a Treetop Village and a Liliana of the Veil. Opponent immediately rips another Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. Well, when you have it, right? Might be one of those leagues, my friends. Might be one of those leagues. We are going to field the Blood Crypt on the unstep. Again, just in case of Blood Moon. They're playing a lot of basic swamps, leads me to believe that there may indeed be a Blood Moon in the deck. More lands, but opponent's draws have been less than great as well. Okay, Maelstrom Pulse. Good draw. We'll hit the bridge. And we'll tick Lily up again. And it's Treetop Village time. It is Ape Village time. I don't really know when the right time to alt Lily against a deck like this is. They seem to be able to cast most but not all things on 3 lands. Goblin Rabblemaster. That's a good one. So if we ult the Lily, we could, you know, like double Stone Rain, or we could just draw Fatal Push. That's great too. That's great. Draws have been good. So we push the token, we Edict the Rabblemaster, we keep our Lily around. And while sitting back with Manlands is good against exactly more Rabblemasters off the top, in other ways it's just better to attack. Simian Spirit Guide off the top, you got it. Hardcast Ape, the Mana Monkey. Yeah, we're going to Edict it. Again, the ult is not the point of Lily here. The point was running them out of resources and now controlling the board. And maybe eventually having like a free ult, you know? Where we're at like 9 and we just ult for a double Stone Rain or triple Stone Rain. Goyf should seal this deal though. Another Rabblemaster, sure. Must attack. Food for the Goyf. We draw Abrupt Decay as well. Even better. Good draws off the top, not gonna lie. Good draws for us. We had them obviously either way just by edicting with the Lily, but that's technically a more value-oriented play. We decay the Rabbler, we tick the Lily up, keep her around even longer. So, good performance there from the deck. So, against Rakdos Prison, I don't know what black brings. We saw Collective Brutality. They might have Board Sweeper like Damnation, you know, a harder sweeper than Anger of the Gods, but other than that, I don't really know. So Surgical Extraction is maybe a thing here. Plague Engineer is not bad either. Good against Rabblemaster for sure. I like Vraska Golgari Queen. I don't know if we want Liliana the Last Hope. I think they're likelier to be just like locking us out of plays rather than killing a ton of stuff. I don't know if I don't know how I like her. Don't think we're into too much else based on what we saw. Also don't think we want Collective Brutality. It's definitely going to have some hits. Maybe just the one main deck is fine. Let's see. I like trimming a Skoos here. I'm assuming they're on Blood Moon. Green mana will be at a premium. Honestly, against these red prison decks, our main deck is so good that I usually end up just sideboarding very conservatively. Vraska can come in, though. We want to keep all of our discard. I guess we're trimming away on some number of Fatal Push, at least 2. What are our best 2 cards to bring in? I'm going to stay away from Last Hope, I think, for now, because Double Black can be a bit of an issue against Blood Moon. Let's bring in a Plague Man. Do we care to play Surgical? I'm going to say no. So we're choosing between a second Plague Engineer, a Liliana the Last Hope, and a third Fatal Push on the draw. I think I'm just going to play 2 Plague Men. They're just like 2 2s can win a game like this for sure. You saw how dirtily the games can get. I think that's totally fine, and again, obviously good against Rabblemaster specifically. So yeah, some conservative sideboarding. We'll see what they show us this game, and if they take us to game 3, then maybe, just maybe, we'll change it up. All right. What do we think about this? It is pretty soft, but not entirely dead to Blood Moon. We didn't see Blood Moon. Is this hand just too bad to keep anyway, though? I think it is. 5 lands. Scooz Trophy. Yeah, let's mulligan. Alright, this is a lot more resilient to the moon. We're going to keep it. And I guess we're just going to... Ooh, tough call. Real tough call. Think I'm bottoming Plague Man. Double Trophy is nice. Goyf is one of our MVPs. And we draw Bob. Cool. We'll run that out in case of turn 2 Blood Moon. We can go get a swamp in response, and then we'll have all of the colors we realistically can hope for under a moon. Yeah, for all I know, this deck, again, doesn't even play Blood Moon. We just don't know. Don't have a real way of knowing. Simian Guide. Ooh, the Rabblemaster. Yeah, that's a lot worse. That's a lot worse than the Blood Moon for us at this stage. Yeah, you got us. We're not going to fetch, because if we top deck Fatal Push, of course we want the Revolt for next turn. Alright, we don't. We top deck Scooz, so now we've got to fetch. And I think I'm actually just going to play out the Scooz. It's the thing I'm least sad about losing to removal. And of course it can wall off the Goblin tokens quite well, if it lives. Or trade with the Rabblemaster if they decide to force that issue. But, of course, if the opponent has any kind of follow-up, ooh, there's an incentive to play black, huh? Jeez, Lily of the Veil's a little brutal. Turn 2 Rabble into turn 3 Lily is quite brutal. So now what do we even do? Hissing Quagmire? Alright. I think we just play the Tarmogoyf and force them to have removal for it. If they do, we're going to lose. And if not, we can maybe get there with these trophies helping us out. If they go like land Chandra, that would be the ultimate unbeatable value. But... And if they take up the Lily, I guess we have to pitch Bob here. Feels bad, but we just need to go land double trophy next turn, or at least have the option to. If they go turn land into Chalice on 2, we're dead, unless we top deck like Decay or Pulse. Lots of things we're dead to. But we did mull to 6, they kept 7. With turn 2 Rabblemaster into turn 3 Liliana, it's a tough progression for our deck to beat. right. There goes Bobby. They lose a Slag Storm, and they are sending in the Rabblemaster, huh? Just trying to end this game ASAP. What is our read on that? I think we have to play for the value game and take the big hit here. And then we just next turn get to Trophy, Lily, and Rabbler. So we're going to leave our Goyf around. Plague Engineer. Sure. Naming Human. You got it. Well, okay, we draw Lily of the Veil. That's a little poor. So we have to trophy their Lily. I guess we basically have to trophy the Rabblemaster too. Before it makes another Goblin, because we're just at the stage where the little chips of damage are going to finish us off. Guess we're going to do it on their upkeep. And we have to trophy the Rabblemaster before they leave the main phase anyway, so I guess no reason not to do it now. But obviously this turns on, you know, like any kind of 4 or even 5 mana Planeswalker they might have. We're just probably not getting there this game, but who knows? Hazoret. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Man, this deck is brutal. So we've got to... I mean, the Hazoret's indestructible. I don't know what the holdup is, what the question is here. Wow, really? Okay. Sure. It's a bit of a lifeline, I dare say. Unearth. How interesting. So we can unearth the Ooze, play the Liliana. I guess we've kind of got to, don't we? Try not to die next turn, and then maybe, just maybe, stabilize with the Ooze. So we should play the Lily first. We have to Edict, because again, just like chewing through the board is a necessity at this stage. All right, I still do not expect us to get there, but you know, they have 6 mana. We are just dead to the Hazoret activation twice. Fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough. Ooh, unless they don't do it. Okay. I think that was a missed opportunity. This turns on... Yeah, no, they're just supposed to discard twice. Whatever's in their hand, we're just dead. Yeah. I assume our opponent is has not played much with Hazoret before. And that's alright, you know. I overlook things like this, too. Leyline of Combustion. Whenever you and at least one permanent you control... Alright, let's focus on the block before we worry about what Leyline says. We gotta trade off our Skoos, unfortunately. But... Vraska Golgari Queen, huh? Okay, this means we're technically not dead, because we can gain a life here. We're not dead to the Hazoret. So we tick Lily up first. We sacrifice a swamp. We play out that land, and we pass sitting behind Goyf. So if the opponent has nothing this turn, we can Edict the Hazoret and maybe get there. What an interesting game. What an interesting game. And yeah, you know, Magic's a complicated game. You know, we were given a lifeline because the opponent overlooked Hazoret, but if you saw my Sultai Snow video, I misplayed against the Narsets and the Teferis as well. Yeah, they're just going to get us down to 1 by pitching their Plague Man. Wow. Okay, so we draw another Lily, sure. Let's Edict Hazoret. Let's play our other Liliana. We'll tick her up, and then I guess we're priced into continuing to tick the Vraska up, just to gain life, like not be dead to who knows what. Am I even playing her on Blood Moon at this point? I guess I still am. We'll sack the Tomb here. We draw a Tracker, sure. Should we attack? Our clock is pretty quick if we start attacking. I'm going to attack. I could come to regret this, but I'm going to attack. I don't think they're going to play another Hazoret. Alright, sweet. Plague Engineer or Tireless Tracker? Well, let's tick up first. I guess I'm going to keep the Plague Man. We'll pitch Tracker. Pyretic Ritual. Alright, play the Plague Man. We're going to name Goblin. And we're going to keep ticking up. Alright, we're no longer playing around Blood Moon. Let's get rid of Forest. Okay, opponent's dead on board. We can also alt the Vraska to make them dead on board. Please don't have this card. Please don't have a Slagstorm. Oh, man. What a game, what a game. GG, somehow I didn't know that you can Edict indestructible creatures. Ooh, opponent has a Damnation, though, so it's not actually GG. Our draws have been great. Drawing another Tarmogoyf is so sweet here. Do we just Emblem Vraska? Sure. Wow, we got there. What a win. Our top decks have been great. I think we piloted pretty well, but yeah, the opponent did leave the Hazoret win on the table. But, as we say, understandable. And opponent's a really nice person. Good luck in the future. Spelling is hard. As I was saying, you know, you can see me making misplays as well. I misplayed against the passives of Narset and Teferi last time I was out, so Hazoret's kind of a non-intuitive card. It's got a lot of unusual abilities all rolled into one. And but we'll take the win, that is for sure. Here we are, round 3. Yeah, it's a fine keep. Just gotta hope that they're playing to the board, basically, with a keep like this. But this is not the type of hand we mulligan in a blind game one. Opponent's name is Tireless Tracker. Oh, man. Are they on a tracker deck? Is this some kind of a mirror? We'll have to find out. Copperline Gorge, that's usually Dredge. Faithless Looting, yeah, not a mirror, not even close. And they Dredge double Stinkweed Imp after having kept 7. So, I think we're just dead. Very exciting game 1 sometimes in Modern. And there is even an argument for just scooping there to conceal information. But now we get a little more info on their deck. They are playing Hogaak. We wouldn't have known that. Not that that really changes what we're doing, but okay. And opponents just going off here. They're just deciding what to do, basically. Can they get Hogaak back this turn? Not yet, but oh my goodness. Okay, they're showing us Creeping Chill, Stitcher, Supplier, so Supplier and Hogaak are the non-traditional Dredge cards. I'm pretty happy just scooping to this. I definitely am not going to get there. And, again, arguably could have just scooped to them looting away 2 Stinkweed Imps. I mean, we did need to kind of make them show us the second land, though. Either way. GG. GG, GG. So, Plague Engineer is definitely in consideration. I like Collective Brutality on the play. Nihil Spellbombs and Surgicals are great. Other than that, you know, like the value Planeswalkers are not actually the worst, but let's see what all we want to bring out. Probably won't be playing with them. Lilies of the Veil are gone. Lilies are gone. Grave Hate's in. What else? I think against Hogaak, we have to leave in all of our trophies. We could cut Abrupt Decay, but maybe we'd rather at least start by cutting our trackers and see where that leaves us. That only lets us bring in 1 Plague Man. I think we want more than that. How good is Hexdrinker? I find myself wanting to just, like, trim away a Hexdrinker in a lot of these matchups. So, these are the cards that are competing for slots. We've got Hexdrinker, Maelstrom Pulse, Abrupt Decay, and all these Plague Engineers. Let's split the difference. We'll trim a Hexy, we'll trim a Decay, we'll leave our Pulse in because it does have the good X for 1 potential, and we'll play with 3, but not the full 4 Plague Man. Sound good? Sounds good. Taking the play. Is Scooz on the play enough? We have 2 green lands and they're painless, so maybe we kind of have to hope it is. We've got a lot of stuff that pairs really well with it, like all this removal obviously pairs well with Scooz if so. Sure, I'll keep... Okay, Dredge opponent keeping 7 both games, not really ideal. Okay, let us hope they lack removal. We're all in on the Scooz. We're all in on you, big guy. Make it happen for us. Okay, no turn 1 Lightning Axe. That's good. That's a good start. I do love this card. This is one of my very favorite cards in the Rock. Oh, the turn 2 Lightning Axe. Well, at least we bought a turn. And the Thoughtseize right after. Tilt. We're just pretty screwed because they just dredged the Stinkweed Imp. Do we even want to Thoughtseize? I guess we still do because we can't get the tracker above a 2-1 this turn anyway. So we'll Thoughtseize after the fact. I would definitely have cast this last turn before a Scooze if I had been able to. And the rest of the opponent's hand is just nothing, but they did get our Scooze. Our poor, brave Scavenging Ooze has bit the dust, and now we're all in on a much worse card in the form of Hexdrinker. But, you know, it is possible that they brick on the Stinkweed Imp Dredge. Of course they won't. They got Life from the Loam, Hogaak. We're just pretty dead. Yeah, so, you know, we don't have as much graveyard hate as we were used to having. We've got, for, like, the hard-ish hate, it's 2 Spellbombs and 2 Extractions. Do we mulligan a Scavenging Ooze hand away like that? On the draw, I would say yes. On the play? Ooh, we draw a Scooze. Hold up. Hold up, everything's changed. Alright, so Hogaak is legendary. I think we just have to play the Scooze and eat the Stinkweed Imp. They're probably going to get their Bloodghast back. They're definitely going to get their Bloodghast back, but we just can't let them dredge anymore. And then maybe the next turn we can trophy the Hogaak. We draw another untapped land. We can eat both Hogaaks, maybe. Either way, this is the start. And I'm not trading Hexdrinker with Narcomoeba yet. That's going to be a good way to finish the game if we can get there. Casting Life from the Loam, buying back all the lands, including Dryad Arbor. It's a spicy inclusion. I haven't seen that before in Dredge, but it, yeah, I mean, it's good value from Life from the Loam, I suppose. I wonder if they consider this a land or a spell. I mean, probably a spell, but in terms of deck building, that is. So we hope they, like, delve away one of their Hogaaks here to cast the other. They didn't. Alright, so we need to draw an untapped land to be able to trophy this Hogaak and eat both Hogaaks, and if we do, we're in okay shape. Or we could draw Nihil Spellbomb. That's cool too. I guess that's our play, right? Trophy this guy, then we have to Spellbomb for no value. But then with another trophy and a push and a Scooze on the field, we, in theory, could get there. And I think we just kind of have to do it now. Like, we're probably not beating another Hogaak coming back. We can trophy it, but I'm more content to just do it now. I'd rather not have to spend the trophy on that and then have to spend the mana to eat it. Like, if we were less gated by mana, sure. Opponent's got 7 cards in hand, though, you know? Some of them are lands, but some of them are not. Fetching main phase for a tapped land. Maybe just to cast Life from the Loam. Yep, sure enough. They get the loam in the yard. I guess we're going to be pressed into eating that with the ooze. We draw a forest. Good draw. Okay. So I think we're pretty priced into either just committing to lose the Hexdrinker to trade with the Narcomoeba or to simply only attack with Scooze this turn. I'm going to choose to, I think, only attack with a Scooze. With 2 removal spells in hand and a Scooze on field, I think it is loose to, well, you know, sink mana into Hexdrinker this turn. So we'll just say go. We want to fade another Lightning Axe or more removal. And I think we are going to push Bloodghast here, I guess. And before they get priority again, we'll make sure to eat that Bloodghast before they can play another land or fetch land, even worse. Faithless Looting, okay. Can they overload us now in the second main? Stinkweed Imp Life from the Loam, those are some good ones. Yeah, if they just had 2 lootings in hand, that's pretty horrendous. Okay. Eat the Imp, and they get to dredge a bit. Just finding more dredgers. Okay, you know, you could argue that we weren't supposed to push the Bloodghast there, but it's definitely oh god, and another looting. It's definitely a little difficult to imagine getting punished worse than we are here. Like, I think 1 looting in hand would be acceptable. Like, if they get to dredge once, that's fine. But, like, 2 lootings in hand and a bunch of good stuff to pitch. And then all the good hits off of the dredges. Yeah, pretty rough. Yeah, maybe we were supposed to just... Or they're just going to scoop. Oh, you know what? That's because they're dead on board. We can either... yeah, they couldn't manage to stop our attacks. Well, good enough for me. I was going to say, you know, maybe we are supposed to play more conservatively than that, but apparently that was good enough. Yeah, that's the thing, is the Bloodghast don't block, so we either fire up the Treetop or pump some mana into the Hexy. Either way, they're going to be dead at 9 life. I guess they needed to hit some Creeping Chills off of that to stay alive. We're going to be on the draw. It's definitely making Collective Brutality look a lot worse. Dark Confidant looks worse on the draw as well. Hexdrinker was okay there. Obviously, was just kind of a Savannah Lions, but... Do we want to play the 4th Plague Man on the draw? So if we say that Brutality and Confidant are a little bit worse, we can trim one of each. Just bring back the 2nd Hexdrinker, bring in the 4th Plague Man. We could also consider playing Abrupt Decay to hit like a Shriekhorn, but that's about it, and we actually haven't seen Shriekhorn. So maybe that's been replaced in this build by Stitcher Supplier. Liliana the Last Hope isn't bad, but kind of like this. I kind of like the Plague Man a little bit more than her, I think. But on the draw, we're not going to have the luxury of keeping a hand with Scooze as our only Grave Hate. Unless they start taking mulligans, then maybe we will. Let's just hope for a great hand. Opponent just snap keeping 7. Well, we've got triple discard and a surgical, so I think we have to keep this ourselves. Oh boy. Dredge opponent keeping 7 all 3 games is not good. Turn 1 Supplier is not good either. That's an annoying card. Bloodghast, okay. More discard. I'm sure we don't need all of this discard. I would rather see more Grave Hate. Okay. So I think we're going to take the Supplier. And then I just don't know if we should be surgicaling Bloodghasts. Maybe we just have to let one Bloodghast do its thing. So maybe we just take the Supplier and see what their looting yields. Supplier is so annoying, though. Gets value on both ends. And if they loot before they play a land... Yeah, it just gives us, like, perfect information with which to operate here. So I think I like our line thus far. Pitching Dryad Arbor and another looting. And now there's 2 Bloodghasts in here. Alright, and they don't have a fetch land. I will now surgical the Bloodghasts. So their hand is Mine Claim Mountain. Not a very scary hand at the moment, but our hand doesn't really do much. Let's take a look at their deck. We got the Bloodghasts all out of it. They have 3 total copies of Lightning Axe. That's a lot. 2 Conflagrate to worry about. They do play Forgotten Cave. They have 3 copies of Hogaak. And the full 4 Supplier. Alright, 2 more Nature's Claims as well. Sure. What was that third card in hand? Was it Mountain? Some other land, right? Oh, just lands and discard, lands and discard. Well, I think we just take away the Nature's Claim this turn. Not a very good turn, but the opponent is pretty stalled out. Problem is they've got the looting in the graveyard to help make it all better. Yeah, we just need to find one of our good permanents here, one of our high value permanents like Scooze. Or a Nihil Spellbomb is always welcome. Always welcome in my house. They top deck a Life from the Loam. Oh, come on. Come on. So bad. So bad. And we just draw lands. Are you kidding? Alright, we're digging for Spellbomb or second Surgical right now. The Flood, guys. What is up? And they immediately dredge into Hogaak. Maybe no way to cast him quite yet, though. They need another creature. But more lootings in the yard. Oh, Dryad Arbor got bought back. Of course. Yep. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? We top deck discard and lands, they top deck a Dredge spell. That also happens to be very good value along the way. I don't think we're gonna get there now. But I didn't think it last game either. Then we top decked another Scooze. But now we're really not gonna get there because we can literally only draw lands. So I'm going to kill and drain. I'm going to kill the Dryad Arbor. Drain them. And maybe if we can draw a trophy for Hogaak, that makes them have to work a little bit harder to get him back. You know, they can loop life from the loam, but at least we'll give ourselves a better chance of getting there, I suppose. Like, what else? I mean, they can just do that right now, but what else are we going to do? Kill the Stixure Supplier? No. And they didn't play the Dryad Arbor, so there's that. Literally just drawing only discard. Alright. We'll cast one for fun, and then we're scooping. Another Nature's Claim in hand. Man, that was so unlucky. That was just brutal. Like, our keep is definitely good. Their hand was definitely pretty weak after our first Inquisition, and then the top decks wrecked us. Wrecked us good and hard. But that's all right. We're having a fun league. We're seeing some interesting gameplay. But we are taking the L's here. We are taking the L's today, my friends. That is all right. This is a great hand in blind game 1. Traditional BGX curve. Inquisition, Goyf, Liliana. Keep it. Got a lot of basics in hand, though. Hope we're not against blue-white control. Opponent will mulligan. And here's our Inquisition. See what is up. Another Dredge Hogaak deck. Alright, so we're not going to put that Dark Blast in the yard, I can tell you that. Are we priced into taking the looting? Satyr Wayfinder is another annoying card. Our Liliana now looks like pretty terrible. Think we kind of have to take the looting, though. Punish them for keeping a one-lander. Hope it's good enough. All right, Tarmogoyf is going to be a good turn 2 play. Except it's going to turn on the Bloodghast, and except they're just going to rip another looting. What's happening today? What the heck is happening today? This is insanity. I don't know why.
I'm just wondering.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so they're looting just a Hogaak into the yard. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. We don't want to turn on the Dark Blast, but at the same time, like, if they didn't hit their second land, they're not going to be that excited to dredge anyway. So let's just play out the Goyf. If they didn't hit the second land, then we are incentivized to just try to end this game. Second land, why not? Just have it all. Have it all, OP, have it all. And the Wayfinder, filling up the yard. They have a Fatal Push main deck. Yikes. and Gravecrawler in this one. So as you can see, the variation is pretty high in these types of decks these days. And, you know, Liliana's actually not that bad here because it means they can't flash back the Hogaak next turn. At least we're making them find another creature to do so. But let's try to keep the board even more clear, see if we can get them to block first. Doubtful, but... okay, they will. So now, what do we like? Do we still like the Liliana? Yeah, I think so. Liliana is, like, we don't have anything else good to do. And Liliana does just make them have even more of the right stuff to get the Hogaak back next turn. Alternative was to cycle Unearth, basically. Satyr Wayfinder. Okay, so they get a land to get back the Bloodghast. They put another looting in the yard. The Wayfinder is just chumping for days, but more importantly is going to get the Gak back this turn. So we're going to Trophy Hogaak. And then I don't know what, like, we're trying to race in vain, basically, but... the opponent did have to exile a bunch of crap. They're drawing lands. Lovely. Do we even want to tick up with the Lily? Like, is that even viable? Let's cycle on our Unearth before we do anything, I guess. We draw a Scooze. Alright. Let's tick up. We're going to pitch our Swamp. See what they pitch. And now I really want to just... yeah, they picked Bloodstain there. I think we're supposed to just play Scooze and pass, and then next turn trophy the Hogaak, eat the Hogaak. We're going to take a big hit from him this turn, but... alright, so one step they might Dark Blast something just to... nope, okay. I was going to say just to get that Dredge effect in the yard, but apparently they don't feel the need for that. Okay, upkeep Dark Blast. Seems like it's just kind of less mana efficient that way, but... no, it's not, because they can double Dark Blast. That's right. Fair enough. Yep, you got us. Okay. Okay, opponent's empty-handed. We draw Field of Ruin. Does it get much worse? Attack you with the Goyf here. We could Edict with Lily first, but that gives away our game a little bit more, so I'm fine doing one less damage. Doesn't change the clock, because starting this upcoming turn, we'll be hitting for 5, you know, hit for 5 twice, that's GG, even if we only did 4 this turn. Now, I don't think we can afford to take this hit just to play around. Like, if we had a huge life total, we might take the hit and try to then end-step trophy, so they couldn't recast him potentially this turn. But, as it is, we don't want to die to just like a hard-cast Creeping Chill, so we've got to trophy this stupid guy. And then I don't know what we can hope to draw to deal with him. I don't think we have any one card that does it. So maybe we just have to, like, keep drawing trophies and just kill them with Tarmogoyf attacks. Here comes the looting. You know, I'm not entirely sure why they thought it was a good idea to print a 0 mana recursive 8/8 Trampler. Really, really a little bit baffled by that one, my friends. But what do I know? Sure, we'll play out our tracker here. Pretty dead. But at least in theory, if we live this upcoming turn, this does give us, we're seeing more than one card per turn, so in theory, there are a couple combinations of draws that might get us there, but we're like 1% to win at the moment. Another looting. Yep. Yeah, I remember when, you know, there were some people asking me, when Brick got banned, can we stop playing Graveyard Hate now? The answer is no. No. Alright, let's crack the clue, see what we find, I guess. But I think we're kind of taking the hit either way. We find Fatal Push. Interesting. Wow. If we might be able to just kill them on the crackback. Alright, take the hit. Overgrown Tomb. Okay, make a clue. Push the Wayfinder, attack for lethal. Guys, that feels so good. That feels so good. Never mind all of my complaining, you know, Tireless Tracker is better than Hogaak. Proof positive. Alright, well, we're going to be on the draw, so what did we think about our sideboarding? I mean, it didn't quite get us there last time, so do we want to change anything up? And we have seen a slightly different setup here from the opponent. But these are all the cards that are in consideration. These are the 4 that definitely have to come in. Some number of Plague Man definitely has to come in as well. Still not really sold on these Planeswalkers quite. And, you know, we played with the full 7 discard spells. I could see taking away a Thoughtseize, but, like, again, with Hogaak in the deck, like, just Thoughtseizing a Hogaak and extracting it or spellbombing it is actually kind of tempting. So we'll leave them all in on the draw, at least, and maybe cut one on the play if they take us to Game 3. Alright. We can definitely afford to make those cuts. We can... Pretty happy still to cut that Abrupt Decay, cut a Confidant on the draw. Yeah, I like our previous sideboarding, just, you know, 3 Plague Men. Did we trim a Hexdrinker? I think we did for the 4th Plague Man on the draw. Or maybe we just trimmed a Tireless. Let's just trim Tracker. I don't know what we did last time. We'll do this time. This seems pretty good. We haven't seen Plague Engineer yet, but obviously pretty nice in a lot of different ways, provided other disruption is firing on all cylinders. Our Dredge opponents just love keeping 7. I think we have to keep this. We've got Inquisition, we've got Scooze, we've got Extraction. We only have 1 land, but I think this is a keep. We hit our 2nd land. I like our chances well enough. Of course, the opponent keeping 7 could mean they just have a super redundant hand with, like, multiple enablers, multiple payoffs, resilience. Turn 1 supplier. This looks familiar. No good hits off of it, though, so that's cool. That is cool. Okay, it's not a land, but it's a Spellbomb. I think we're just casting Inquisition here, but that's an interesting draw, to say the least. We just really need a 2nd land even more. Untap 2nd land, please and thank you. Next turn. Alright. Opponent's got all the lands they need. They've got Wayfinder, Neonate, Gravecrawler. Take the Wayfinder. And our Surgical doesn't really have to do anything yet. I mean, we could Surgical Neonate for value. That seems incredibly loose. So I think we just be patient with it. Just hope we draw our 2nd land. Plague Engineer naming Zombie is shaping up to be good in the mid-game here if we can get there. Okay, Neonate, did they find something compelling to pitch to him off of the top of the deck? That's the big question. And if so, do they need to do it right now? They're going to pitch Gravecrawler. Am I extracting Gravecrawler here? I just wish I knew that I was going to hit or not hit a 2nd land. Gravecrawler makes their clock just so much better. I think I'm going to do it, but... Oh, it is loose. It feels loose. Feels pretty loose. But, like, we could fail to hit a 2nd land for a while, and we could just get too far behind to the zombie beat, so I'm going to do it. Their hand is just 2 lands. Okay, we get 4 cards out of the deck. We see 4 Vengevine, 2 Trophy. Interesting. Trophy is the removal of choice, and 3 Fatal Push. Fatal Push is not what we like to see right now, but sure. Alright, second land. Second land. Thoughtseize. Come on, deck. Come on. Alright, Spellbomb it is. But we're going to hold it up until we see a real reason to fire it off. If nothing else, we need the draw to hit our second land, apparently. Okay. Sadder Wayfinder, very good draw for the opponent. Milling over a whole lot of nothing again. Okay, good for us. But they have a Hogaak in hand. Get out of here, guy. Come on. I despise this card. Yep, you got us. You sure did. I don't think in our situation, like against the old Hogaak deck, maybe Spellbomb for no value. Oh, now our second land. Well, this is alright. This is alright. We've got Trophy into Spellbomb. So, when's the best time to do it all? I guess during their attacks. It's alright. We can maybe still take over the game with the Skoos here. If they have like a Nature's Claim in response to force us to crack it before our trophy resolves, that would really suck. But they don't. And hopefully they don't have another Hogaak anytime ever in this game. Alright, so we're taking some chip damage. It's less than it would be if there was a Gravecrawler involved, that's for sure. Opponent might just be pretty well flooded. Do we lead on Plague Man here? Or do we lead on Skoos? I'm almost more inclined to play the Plague Man in case, like, one of the explanations for them not doing anything is that they have removal in hand. So if we go Plague Man naming Sadder, that's actually a good value play. And it makes our Skoos the following turn a little bit better. It means we kind of have to ignore the Stixure Supplier, but that's fine. Like, if they just want to race us, we outrace them with just Plague Man alone. So normally I'd be more inclined to name Zombie, but I just explained why we're naming Satyr, and also Gravecrawler is completely out of the deck. So, if this draws out a Fatal Push from the opponent as well, I'm so fine with that. But I expect the opponent's just kind of flooded based on that double fetch at the end step. Faithless Looting. It's a good answer to the flood, that's for sure. Wow, only pitching lands. Okay, another Wayfinder or something, though? Vengevine, Hardcast. We're trading. And then we're going to eat that Vengevine with Ooze. We don't have to this exact second, though. But that's definitely our play. If only we had another green land, we could eat the looting. Should we eat the looting? Maybe we actually should. We're forcing the opponent to have two creatures, and we basically know they don't have one in hand right now. Alright, Judgment Call, eating the Faithless Looting. Hope we don't regret it. I think that's a pretty heads-up play for me that could also just end up being terrible. It's just the proverbial 200 IQ play or possible punt. 200 IQ. Confirmed. Oh man, oh man. And we draw another Plague Engineer, huh? So our options here are basically to play a Tarmogoyf or just do nothing and hold up like 2 Scooze activations. We could also Thoughtseize here, but I just don't think they have much in hand. Alright, once more with the Judgment Call, we're going to play a Goyf. And lean on exactly 1 Scooze activation. We're not going to attack. We don't want to give them this death trigger until we have at least 2 activations to clean it up. Another land, unsurprisingly, from the opponent. I think Dryad Arbor was in the previous Dredge matchup, but doesn't mean they're not on one right now. Keep that in mind. We will eat the Venge Vine. Another Thoughtseize. Alright, now do we want to cast a Thoughtseize? Now I think we better. Because this 1 black land isn't doing anything. I'm not ready to Brutality yet. Not ready to Plague Engineer yet, certainly, because we don't want to go shields down. So we'll Thoughtseize just to get full info. They probably have nothing, maybe just lands in hand, who knows. Or are they scooping? They're scooping. I'm very pleased with that, my friends. Very, very pleased. Our luck has not been the greatest, I don't think, this league. But we're showing some good games. Showing the power of BG the Rock, and I'm having fun. I don't know about you. I hope you are. Hope you're having fun. Fun does not always correlate directly with the results. The best we're aiming for is the 3-2 here at this point, but I think this has been a fun league, and we catch a little bit more luck in that Loxobots matchup, for instance, or against Dredge the first time out. We're looking at a very different league, but we've had 2 very dominant 2-0 wins and a couple narrow 1-2 losses, and now, here we are in round 5. Hand looks sweet to me. We'll keep it. I'm more inclined to run out of fetch on turn 1, all else being equal, than I used to be, because now I only have 2 trackers in the deck instead of 3, or, sometimes 4 in the past. And in case they've got that turn 1 Blood Moon, we want to be able to fetch around it, right? It's not a Blood Moon, it's a Flameblade Adept. Alright. Well, the only question is, do we fetch and shock, or do we just get a swamp? I think we're going to fetch and shock. Scooze is too important here. So we're against Hollow One, and the new look Hollow One decks might also play Hogaak or some zombie sub-theme or whatever. I've only seen it once since Modern Horizons, and it's been more like a... they did have Gravecrawler. They might have had Sixer Supplier. I don't exactly remember, but let's hope they don't have a kill spell for the Scooze here. We've got Maelstrom Pulse was a pretty good draw here if they do manage to put together a big Hollow One turn. Maybe spend their whole hand to get 2 Hollow Ones on the field, and then we just give them the old Pulse. We've been seeing Pulse a lot less lately since I'm no longer on 2 in the 75. I still continue to believe that it's playable as a 2-of, but Modern is just a little different these days than it was in the heyday of the double Pulse. Like, we don't have the luxury of having as high of a curve as we used to, I believe is the ultimate... oh, well, there goes our Pulse. There goes Unearth and Liliana of the Veil. They've got a zombie infestation in this deck. Discard 2 cards to make a zombie. What? And a Hollow One. Yikes, Hollow One. And no more removal for it, and there's only 1 creature in the yard after all that. That's just so incredibly annoying. I can't even tell you. How annoying that is, but I guess I don't care about the Faithless Looting this turn exactly. So I guess we're just going to play the Treetop Village and pass. Holding up Decay or holding up Double Scooze. Would be nice to play Dark Confidant. I don't believe we have that luxury. Losing the Pulse was brutal there. I think the Hollow One deck's pretty cool overall, totally fine, but the randomness of Burning Inquiry affecting the other player is just like, why? Just why? Alright, so this is kind of what I was hoping. Hoping they spend their turn flashing back looting because they're like, okay, we sculpt the hand for the next turn and we get to at least attack well with the Adept here. But we've got Decay for the Adept, and then we get to untap and hopefully make the Ooze bigger. Holy moly, double life from the loam? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what this deck's exactly up to. And a Forgotten Cave as well, part of that whole loam package. Alright. Decay your thing. Take 4. We draw another Scooze. I mean, Life from the Loam value's pretty crazy here, right? Like, they just dredge over some stuff, they buy back the Forgotten Cave. But it's very painful to spend our whole turn, like, eating their graveyard, making the Scooze quote-unquote only a 4/4. Like, are we then trading it off with the Hollow One? If they don't have a Fatal Push? Or what? Or do we just, like, let them have Life from the Loam instead of a draw? Maybe that's fine. So if we are going to do that, then maybe we should play Field of Ruin, play another Scooze, and just make the Scooze a 4/4 to get out of Bolt range. I don't even know if this deck plays Bolt, but that seems pretty fine to me. Yeah, we'll just err on the side of being proactive. We're going to let them have a Life from the Loam. But all that does is buy back a Forgotten Cave. It's not, like, insurmountable value or anything. And next turn we can eat the other Life from the Loams. So, sure. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm up against, so it's a little tough to say what the optimal lines are, but I think this is a pretty reasonable one. And maybe they'll just take a draw step, like, obviously that depends on what's in their hand, right? But opponent clearly considering exactly that at the moment. Considering exactly what their turn looks like if they dredge Life from the Loam versus what they could have off of the top if they just take a normal draw step. One imagines. Or maybe the opponents just got up to use the bathroom. Because this is pretty long to being in the tank, but okay, there they go. Oh, look at that, our favorite card. Our favorite card is in the deck. I knew it. It's Hogaak. It's the Hog. Never leaves us alone. And they've got a main deck Leyline of the Void. Like, what is this? The Did the opponent not get the memo that Bridge from Below is banned? This isn't supposed to be our meta anymore. Oh, jeez Louise. Okay, so a couple Hogaaks out there. But fortunately, we can just eat them. So that's cool. We're going to have 4 activations next turn. We can eat... Yeah, they just scoop. Scavenging Ooze OP. Alright, you know what? Whatever happens in this last match here, Scooz is getting the thumbnail treatment. Scooz is absolutely the man. Look at this thing. Just look at it. You know, you can't get better than this. That's one of the reasons I love the Rock, is because we are able to leverage Scooz better than any other BGX deck, because we have the green mana in abundance without making it kind of tread water, you know, with like we have to like fetch and shock to get a green land to activate the Scooz. Like, he is a big source of life gain and stability in our deck, and we need that. We need that a lot. So what are we doing against this deck? I have no idea, but I know we want the Graveyard Hate. I don't think we want... This has not been a league for the Ouphe and the Fulminator Mages too much. Ouphe did get a little play, but not Fulminator. Surgical and probably Collective Brutality. And probably Liliana the Last Hope. And probably at least some number of Plague Engineer. I don't know about Vraska. Vraska's probably, they go over the top of Vraska too much. With Hogaak and Hollow One, yeah, definitely not, actually. Even Lily the Last Hope is more of like a buyback machine than any way to realistically handle their board, but we still might want her. So we've got 10 cards we're considering, certainly going to bring in the majority of them. And we're probably just moving away heavily from Liliana the Veil yet again, at least 3, maybe 1 more. I think Decay is the worst of our removal. We saw it do a fine job there taking down the Adept, but that's kind of a supplementary angle on which their deck attacks, right? So let's just say on the draw we're going to try without any Lilianas. Cut a couple bobs, bring in all of these cards. Once again, I think Plague Engineer is mostly better than Tireless Tracker, so what do we think about a setup like this? Looks pretty good, looks pretty well hedged to me. I could even see playing the 4th Plague Man over the Last Hope, but we'll try it like this. It's hard to make that call. And, you know, we could also only play with 1 Collective Brutality. It is worse on the draw, just like against Dredge, but here I kind of like a little bit more because we're more likely to catch them on, like, mid-game, like, even, like, turn 3 after a Burning Inquiry. We catch them with a spell in hand, or it just kills Flameblade Adept. This hand's interesting. I think we're going to keep it, but I don't know if we're necessarily supposed to. But I will, we'll give this one a keep. We are, you know, the 1-landers on the draw, we are pretty likely to hit the 2nd land, and then with Bob, hopefully we hit the 3rd Adept. That's actually one of the scarier turn 1 plays, because we can handle the graveyard stuff. Ooh, we draw Swamp, beautiful. But, you know, the fast clock of Flameblade. Now, is there any reason we Thoughtseize first? They kept 7, I doubt it. They've got to have a good Inquisition target in hand. Let's do that. It's just Fatal Push, Flameblade Adept, and, of course, Hogaak and Hollow One that we cannot touch. So I think we're going to leave the push, because we can maybe take it at some point with another discard spell. And we also don't care much if they push our Bob, or even our Plague Men, really. Like, it's not like we have a Scooze to protect. It's not like we have the best card in the deck, Scavenging Ooze, to protect, right? Alright, what did they draw? They drew something good. Thoughtseize. Okay, no point in extracting, that's for sure. So, let it resolve. And, you know, if we find a kill spell for the Flameblade Adept, our position's totally fine. We just... Even if we don't, unless they just go off at some point, it's not the end of the world. They're a ways away from getting the Hogaak back as well, and they take our Bob. Sure, that makes sense. We draw Fatal Push. Nice. Okay, we're going to Thoughtseize that Hollow One away. And I guess we need to, unfortunately, fetch and shock here. But I won't complain, because we did draw the push. And we draw Tarmog. Ooh, well, they have a Fatal Push of their own. But I'm still just going to run this out, like we've got to be mana efficient here. We could draw our one of Unearth as well to get this guy back, but like, because we are choked on mana, I don't think we're supposed to hold back the Goyf, and they're playing discard as well, right? Nurturing Peatland. Nice. So what do we name with a Plague Engineer? Do we name Zombie? I don't remember exactly what we saw. These games are all kind of blending together. I mean, they play Zombie Infestation, so I'm going to name Zombie. It doesn't kill any of their big stuff anyway, not even Flameblade Adept. But of course it is difficult to say here, and I think we have to hang on to the extraction for, you know... Probably for Hogaak, but either that or for a more opportune target in general. Okay, they hit their third land. Liliana the Last Hope. Cool. It's a good draw. I'm just going to buy back our Goyf. Peatland is causing us some trouble with the life here, but that's alright. Hopefully. Goy for Bob. Yeah. Pretty confident we want the old Tarmogoyf here. Ooh, Dryad Arbor is in the deck, and it's going to finish off Lily. Well, that's pretty annoying, but... Not a great deal we could have done about it. It's not something we're supposed to play around, I don't believe. Ooh, but if they have another creature, then they get the Hogaak back. Yeah, man, oh man. Pretty rough. Well, at least they don't get to kill our Lily this turn. There's that. The good old 8/8 trample is going to wreak havoc with us. Okay. What now do we do? What now do we do? I think we're going to attack. Like, if we attack, we offer the trade with Hogaak, we get to sequence in a much different way, like we get to play the Tarmogoyf. And if they don't take the trade, then we tick up, we kill Dryad Arbor. We name Vampire with Plague Engineer. And then we take a hit from Hogaak and... Or we can block it? Yeah, okay, so let's attack first. Okay, no block as expected. So if they want to attack, we do have the ability to extract Hogaak, you know. We'll trade, we'll extract before they receive priority again in their main phase. And hope that's good enough. And how do we want to fetch? So if we fetch a swamp, that's pretty bad for the purposes of having Scooze mana, but I think that's still overall the best thing to do. So we've got to make sure we're stopping on the damage step here. Extract your Hogaak. See exact. Oh, they got another one in hand too, and it's just a mountain in hand. All right. I guess we're gonna take a moment to look at what else is in the deck, even though the game might be over soon one way or another. So they've got 3 zombie infestation. I won't pretend to understand that. 2 Thoughtseize. Someone can explain it, I'm sure. Life from the Loams. Barrenmore as well, 1 trophy for Death Shadow. What? Another push. Okay, lots of stuff. Okay, so they get to... Ooh, Urborg is a kind of a nice draw. They get to buy back the Bloodghast, but we get to buy back the Plague Engineer. So let's play Urborg. Let's take Liliana down. Let's cast the Plague Man painlessly, thanks to Urborg. Naming Vampire. Let's play a good old-fashioned Tarmogoyf. And let's hit for 2, present lethal next turn. Okay. Opponent's got a top deck like a Damnation or something, which we didn't see there, and we get there. Alright, guys. That was not the best results you'll ever see, but that was a great league, right? I think that was a great league. I think I feel really good about my play overall. Maybe made 1 or 2 mistakes that I didn't realize, who knows, but we continue to cash almost every single league. I'm coming up on 100 matches played post-Horizons, which is 20 leagues, and I've only failed to cash 1. And that was a 2 and 3, so we even partially cashed that. But, you know, I've only had 1 5-0 as well, but a few 4 and 1s and a just ridiculous amount of 3 and 2s. Call me Mr. Consistency, because we're 3 and 2ing all day, which is not the most impressive thing in the world, but again, as like a floor, as a baseline, absolutely awesome. And it is nice to have a breath of fresh air on this channel to change a pace and to reward the supporters by playing different decks. But man, it also feels good to go back to the home territory of Rock, where we're really comfortable, and you know, win or lose, those were some really interesting games. So we could have definitely got there against especially that Loxodon deck. You know, the Loxodon evading our disruption is really what got us. Game 1, we led on Inquisition, which I think is mostly correct, and their hand was land Loxodon. So we whiffed on the Loxodon, and they just ripped more gas off the top. Then in games 2 and 3, they were pretty much in top deck mode and found the Loxodon both games, and that made the board just a little bit too big for us. So I definitely feel we were unlucky there. And then the dredge matches are, they can go either way. They were interesting. We split the difference 50-50. That's fine. We won round 2. Nice and strong win there. And, of course, that was a nice feel-good win at the end as well. So the main man, Scavenging Ooze, getting the treatment here. Underrated card. Very, very crucial to how our deck operates. Like, it does a little bit of everything. It stabilizes us, it's main deckable Grave Hate, and it is a game ender. Really turns the corner nice and quickly. So, thumbnail treatment for the Scoos. Otherwise, I don't know what else to say. We definitely didn't need half of our sideboard today and really needed the other half. Plague Engineer was absolutely awesome again. Again, we're not seeing the very best matchups for him, but he continues to play a really crucial role. Now, sometimes we're not bringing in the full force, so maybe I do want to tone down to 3 if and when I decide I need another slot in the sideboard, but right now, I've gone lots of full leagues without playing against any graveyard-based decks, so we're just kind of in stasis with the build, seeing how the meta develops, seeing whether we need this Plague Man to be something else, but, as you saw, even against the graveyard decks, plays a really nice role, so anyway, that was our league. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, my friends, let me know what you think about everything that's going on here. And let me know what you think about the list moving forward, your experiences, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you once again to Luke Isaac, our brand new confidant, and indeed to all Patreon supporters. If you, my friends, are enjoying this content, visit that link below, patreon.com/GrimflareMTG. There are over 60 of us now on Patreon, and you could be the next. I'd really appreciate it. I am a working father. Your support definitely makes a difference to my life and the life of my family, allows me to continue carving out what's kind of a pretty time-consuming hobby here, continue justifying doing that for you, and continue bringing you hours of content every single week. So check that out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already done so, and stay tuned because we're always playing more Rock here on Grimflayer MTG. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. Almost forgot to say that. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.